there's one thing that I've learned is not to keep a very high expectation of myself, or at least like a very positive, good outcome of that expectation, right? For most of us, we have an expectation of how we're supposed to behave, how we need to achieve something in life. It could be your school test, your money at work, or whatever you do, you have that positive expectation of yourself on what you should achieve. And most of the time, right, this is more related to how you're feeling at the current moment. So you could call it like a motivation or something like that. And everything is just based on that current moment. It has actually nothing to do with whatever you are doing. It has nothing to do with your hard work. It has nothing to do with the amount of hours that you've put in, but rather just the motivation that you had at that point of time. So the reason why I'm talking about this and why I've learned not to keep a very high expectation of myself in terms of positiveness is that it has a lot to do with this thing called dopamine. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys have heard of this dopamine thing before, which is basically a chemical that your brain releases. And most of us associate this chemical with a positive feeling. But it's not a positive reaction. It's an anticipation reaction that your brain releases when you're expecting something positive, right? So what do I mean by this is that, for example, especially social media, right? They do this the best when your phone pings you, you start hearing the notification and you see the notification. That is when the dopamine fires up the highest. And from there, you start to see the notification, you start to read who is on the other side, and because you were expecting probably someone to message you, maybe your crush or someone that you thought that would haven't messaged you in a very long time maybe, and that's where your dopamine fire up the highest. And once you start to see who is on the other end, then that's where your brain start to tone it down, and because that's where you decide, oh, is this person worth talking to? So it keeps on firing and firing and firing, and that's how social media companies does it, and that's how dopamine works as an anticipation chemical. So another example I could give you that you guys could relate even more, it would be when you're shopping for something, right? When you're shopping for something, usually you start to compare products and you look here and there, wait for discounts or whatever. And the dopamine usually hits the hardest, especially for me as well, when the products is arriving, right? When the products is being delivered over and you know that the products is gonna come to your hand. And the moment you un- unwrap the product, that's where dopamine drops to its your feelings drops to its original level, right? You no longer feel the heat, and that's how you move on to the next product. And that's how consumerism works and how companies get you to buy more and more things as well. There's more to it, and I'm have spoken about it in my previous videos as well. But what I want to talk about is why you shouldn't keep a positive expectation of yourself, especially ones to a very high standard. And the reason why you shouldn't live your life through expectations, especially ones for yourself in a positive manner, is because everything that you have expected from yourself was from that very point of time in time that you have felt. It really could have been anything. It could have been your motivations that you had at the point. Maybe some ideas just came into your head. And from there, you try to formulate this expectation and live it, right? It could be formed by anything really, even your family expectation or anything. But this positive expectation of yourself, you are forced to live through it every single point of your time. But you will never be able to leave that expectation, right? In the same sort of way on how when you receive the product, you will never feel happier than when you were waiting for the product, right? So in a way, what I'm trying to say is that you could have expectations, but try to live your life and live every second of it cheerfully. right? And just enjoy every single time that you are along the way, no matter how tough it is, right? You should actually enjoy the moments that you took to get to it, because you're only here for a very short time, and you know the saying goes, you're not here for a long time, you're here for a good time. And I do agree with the second part. Then you should take every second and moment of life and try to live it as it is, right? No matter the outcome. And if you live your life through expectations, you would more than likely never ever be able to live your life, because you wouldn't be able to cherish the memories, you wouldn't be able to live through the moments, because you're always thinking so ahead on what you are supposed to do and expected of you. So with regards to this, right, another thing that I wanted to mention is how, in terms of dopamine, imagine if the product that you have bought have never arrived, right? Maybe they send the parcel to some other address and you have never received your product. Then what happens? Your dopamine will hit lower than if you were to never order the product at all, right? You would feel extremely down and negative because you have never received the product that you have ordered, which you expected to. And there's another point that I wanted to bring, is that when you don't hit your expectations, what then? Right? You would feel that you're trash, and that's where all your low self-esteem would come in. And when you live through expectation all the time, more than likely not only are you not able to live through every moment, you will feel down at every moment. And that is way worse than just not having any expectation at all, right? So yeah, this is just something that I want to talk about, which is how expectations might actually be bad for you, and how dopamine is actually not a happy chemical, which a lot of people, I guess, think of it wrong, in a wrong sense. Like, oh, my dopamine hit, and then like the thing is a very happy chemical. It's actually not. It's an anticipation chemical that your brain fires in expectation of a happy, positive ending. So, anyways, yeah. And once again, thanks you guys for listening to me, and see you guys in the next video.